Good morning. Today is Sunday, February 21st, 2021, and I'm Margaret Drugovich, the president of Hartwick College. It's going to be a beautiful winter day in Oneonta. High of 30, mostly sunny. I hope you boost your immune system by getting outside for a walk today. This morning I'd like to tell the story of this past week by talking about love at Hartwick in the time of COVID. Late Friday night, a Hartwick father, emailed me upset that his son had been placed in Department of Health mandated quarantine because a teammate had been diagnosed with COVID. This father wants his son to be in the classroom. He fears that if he cannot attend class, he might lose interest in his studies. This father wants us to stand our ground against COVID and to fight back. Balancing the need to protect your son with the need to prepare him for his future. This is what a Hartwick father's love looks like in the time of COVID. This past week I spoke with a senior who is working hard to finish his thesis work on his two majors, one in economics, one in political science, with just 3 months to go. He is taking on tough and important thesis questions, and he's looking for a job. I asked him why, despite his workload, he made time to speak with an assembly member during the recent New York Student Aid Alliance Advocacy Day. After all, he'll soon graduate and he won't benefit directly from the current budget discussion in Albany. He said that every dollar he could scrape together, his own money, state-funded money, and the support he received from the college made it possible for him to attend Hartwick. Now he wants to make it possible for someone else from a family with modest means to grab their dream of an education. Through his advocacy now and through his own financial support of the college later, he told me that he wants to make it possible for others to have the same chance he has had. Actively extending a hand to lift others up when you could be focused on your own needs, that's love in the time of COVID. A staff member recently worked until 1 a.m. reconciling lists of students and employees who were permitted to safely return to campus on the following day. Working to protect others when you could be sleeping, that is love. Last week, all members of an athletic team were placed in quarantine by the Department of Health because of one positive case on the team. The health center director went out of her way to let me know how much she appreciated the civility and respect demonstrated toward her staff by every member of this disappointed team. Being kind to others when you yourself are that disappointed, that is love in the time of COVID. I went into John Christopher's cafe this past week and heard the greeting of "my babies" that sang out from an Aramark employee as students walked into her space. Making others feel welcome during a time that is so alienating in so many ways, that is love in the time of COVID. 90% of our class sections are being offered in person this spring, and it's clear that this physical presence is an essential quality of learning for our students. Teaching in person in order to put the needs of students first, even when you have your own apprehensions, that is love in the time of COVID. A vice president worked as a COVID tester for an entire day last weekend so that her staff would not need to do this. Giving your time on a Saturday so that colleagues can spend their Saturday as they wish to or need to, that is Hartwick love. Earlier this week, I was part of a virtual gathering of donors and supporters. Many were alumni, some were current or former trustees, others were longtime friends of the college. They joined us from locations stretching from Florida to Vermont. We talked about Flight Path and what a difference it is going to make in the ability of our graduates to succeed. The very next day, one of the attendees called the advancement office and made a six-figure current year gift to support the college. Providing generous support at a time of economic uncertainty because you know how the college changed your life, that is Hartwick love in the time of COVID. Accepting the challenge as a member of our strategic response team to begin thinking about COVID management for the fall 2021 semester, when we've only finished 4 days of the spring semester, that's Hartwick love. Working late into last Friday evening to contact, manage, support, move, educate, counsel, feed, and care for over 40 members of a single athletic team who were placed in quarantine by the Department of Health. Caring for 15 positive cases and 38 students in quarantine on campus. And doing it all, not because someone told you to, but because you are a compassionate person who does what needs to be done. That is love. And taking your time as a mother to write these words to the college president when your daughter tests positive for COVID, amazing, helpful, wonderful. I can't express enough how impressed and thankful I am to you and your staff for making a scary situation a whole lot easier. That is love in the time of COVID. And a shout out to the Department of Health. Doing your job as a member of the Department of Health, enforcing the rules handed down by others, fielding the criticism spawned by the many inconveniences of COVID-19, while always keeping the safety of our community as your first priority. Your fidelity is love in the time of COVID. Missing, truly missing, the 132 students who have chosen to study remotely this term, that is our love in the time of COVID. And finally, being happy to be learning together and focused on the future, even with masks on and distanced, even when behind Lexan barriers during meals, even with weekly mandatory testing, even when you test positive, even when you're placed in quarantine, and even when you are zoomed out. Just being happy because you and others you care for are alive and weathering this storm together, that is Hartwick love in the time of COVID. This love is the bridge to our future. Today's song, Today's song is Love Can Build a Bridge, as performed by Naomi and Winona Judd. Be safe. Please wear your doubled mask. Have a great Sunday.